Previously on Atop the Fourth Wall. As such, let's dig into Uncanny X-Men number 423. Damn you, Phantasm! You know I can't release issue 2 of Revolution of the Mask until issue 1 sales improve!
Soon the world will tremble at the mere mention of the name Dr. Insano! Not even Linkara can stop me now!
I'm a man! Hey, cool, a Digivice!
I don't want to be part of these games anymore. Life is not a game.
Dang it, Austin, did you even look at a Bible when you were making this thing?
Well, I can understand you're very upset. I don't think you've ever seen me very upset.
Just who are you, anyway? Huh?
The envelope is out in the open.
Lawmakers.
Oh my god.
Lawbreakers.
Linkara's a clone.
Let us fight them all, why not?
And I'm a man!
I am a woman! Wait, that isn't right. Mars girl, how could you? I thought you loved me!
Believe me, baby, I do. But I love Stalin more.
I am confused about my gender identity, so I should probably go to a local library to look up some more information, especially in light of the fact that transgender rights don't get as much attention in the media as other rights.
You know where the envelope is. Me? I thought you had it. I'm a man.
You've meddled in my affairs for the last time, Linkara. Now you will know the wrath of Dr. Insano!
Insano! And now, the conclusion. Whew! Man, this past week has been something and a half. But enough about that, you saw that already. Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Well, we've seen part 1 of Holy War, so now it's time to see how bad part 2 is. So let's dig into Uncanny X-Men number 424. Ugh, this cover is so bland. What is up with this artist and the cheekbones? He makes them so pronounced with the line work that you'd think a human face with just a couple of puzzle pieces snapped together. The perspective work with Wolverine's claws is nice and all, but it's better suited for a different book. And talk about a waste of space. The 3 X-Men are centered in the comic with white space all around them. Why? Why couldn't we have a scene from the book itself? We have another recap page, but the only thing of note here is that it lists Jubilee as the only survivor of the crucifixions from last issue. But wait a second, we all saw that scene and we saw the other team members getting up. The only one who didn't make it was Angelo. Dear sweet Angelo, we hardly knew ye. Well, okay, we didn't know him at all, but then again, considering how we haven't seen any of the other characters reacting to his death, I think it's safe to say that none of them knew him either. We open right where we left off, with the team discovering the basement full of dead mutants. Once again, Nightcrawler is our narrator. In Genesis 28 through 30, the Word of God gives mankind the right of dominion over all beasts of the earth. Looking at me, would you consider me more person or beast? For once, Chuck Austin did actually get the Bible passages right, but frankly those passages aren't nearly as melodramatic as Nightcrawler would have you believe. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother and was gone to Padan Aram, and Esau, seeing that the daughter of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. Seriously, this is like the drum solo of the Bible. Once a people is demonized, thanks for the unnecessary quotation marks, Kurt, equated with something less than, or even not human, then... Hey, wait a second, is that dead guy right there? know, it's a pretty juvenile thing to laugh at, but come on! What was the artist thinking? Did the Church of Humanity pose them like that after they died? There's no way they fell down like that naturally. There is a human among the bodies and is still alive, calling out to Nightcrawler when he hears his voice. Nightcrawler identifies him as Father Whitney, and I'm afraid I do have to give Chuck Austin some credit here. In the narration captions, he does point out the hypocrisy of an extremist group that believes abortion is wrong because of the sanctity of human life, yet is perfectly willing to murder people. Let's see how fast that credit expires, Nightcrawler teleports down to Father Whitney and, of course, picks the guy up completely off the ground while hanging suspended from his tail. Hey, Nightcrawler, why don't you bend the dying old man's spine some more? I'm not sure he's in enough pain yet. Jean Grey detects more people alive and telekinetically separates them from the dead ones. I don't want to catch anyone on the jagged floors, so instead I'll simply slam them into the ceiling. Father Whitney speaks his dying words, or rather his dying speech. You were right to question, Kurt. You were right to realize that wearing a collar and living in a church doesn't make you closer to God. Living in a huge tower, though, that should do it. They were so angry when I failed to keep you in the priesthood, when I failed to curb your lustful desires. Nightcrawler as a Catholic priest and lustful desires. You know what? I'm not even going to touch that one. I had spent so much time convincing them that you would be our greatest achievement, our key to the world, once you became Pope. Pope? Pope? He was training to be a priest! These guys plan to make Nightcrawler the Pope? I hate to break it to you, but there are a couple of steps in between mutant priest in Brooklyn and supreme pontiff. I tried to find another. We gathered so many. You could see how many in the church here, but you were... Jeez, this guy is milking his death scene for everything it's worth. They're in Montana, Kurt. They never left. I am so sorry, Kurt. What is this, the long goodbye? Just die already! I was just doing what they told me. I never expected to like you. I never expected to grow fond of Muty. And with that, Father Whitney finally dies. That poor, sweet old man. Don't worry, we'll bury you next to Angelo, where you'll be remembered by all. Father Whitney, no one could provide exposition during their death like he could. Get our healers, Warren and Zorn, here now, and make sure you always say who our healers are so the audience knows who we're talking about. And when everything is in more capable hands than ours, we're going to Montana. Everyone together now. I'm going to Montana soon. The group reasons that based on their last few encounters with the Church of Humanity, it's likely that they're still in the same compound they saw them at last. Havoc points out the absurdity of the situation, and Wolverine jokes, "Are you saying there's something unusual about us X-Men, Summers?" Oh, lots of people are dead and Nightcrawler's brain got screwed around with, so it's good that we can still laugh. We switch scenes to the Cathedral, no doubt the headquarters of the Church of Humanity. They're using a psychic mutant in a wheelchair named Mutant 143 to detect the approaching X-Men. They also, for some reason, decide that this would be the best time to discuss their entire plan, even though these people no doubt already knew about the plan in full. How perfect it would have been to place our demon-faced mutant as the successor to the current Pope. How? Allow Wagner to take his seat in the temple of God, as it says in Thessalonians, only to be revealed by an aptly timed failure of his image inducer as Satan, who uses all power and every kind of wicked deception, leaving the church forever destroyed. Or they just kill him or expel him and elect a new pope instead. Mutant kind would have been hunted down as the deliverers of the Antichrist, and the Western world would have been lost. Yes, because the entire Western world is dependent on mutants and Catholics, with only us to turn to for spiritual solace. Man, are they in for a shock when all the ex-Catholics turn to voodoo. The leader of the Church of Humanity scolds two members of the church for crucifying the X-Men since it got their attention, and the leader punishes them by... Holy crap! The leader squishes their skulls! With bare hands, no less! I had no idea you could do that! My skull! My skull! The X-Men arrive as church members open fire on the Blackbird. Polaris grins evilly due to a subplot not related to this issue. Don't they all look like ants from up here? White-robed, human-shaped ants that are only 10 feet away from us and opening fire on us. They leap out of the jet and start fighting, but Wolverine's super senses make him realize that they're fighting illusions. Mutant 143 adds new sensory illusions to block out Wolverine's senses, and the X-Men just get flamed, shot at, and etc.
The X-Men, getting their asses kicked in a world that hates and fears them!
The rest of the X-Men teleport under the cathedral. Jean Grey senses what's happening to the others above and decides to go after Mutant 143. Oh, and her hair and eyebrows suddenly change to green for one panel and then back again for the next. The rest of us will get to the Pope and end this lunacy. Wait, the leader of the Church of Humanity is a Pope too? Or are they really taking on the Pope? Because that would actually be kind of awesome. Evil Mecha Pope. A voice calls out to the group and they discover a man locked up who says the church was experimenting on him and he knows what the church's plan is. We cut back to the battle where Polaris uses her magnetic powers to send the bullets back at their attackers.
Lorna, you can't just... you'll kill them!
My God, Cyclops, you're right! By the way, did you notice how Wolverine just 2 seconds ago was stabbing the people he thought were real and you didn't say anything about it? Jean Grey suddenly shows up, her phoenix bird just itching for a chance to get out. Mutant 143's keeper pulls out a gun and quotes the, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death" thing. God has heard your prayer, my sad little man, and sent his reply.
This is God. I'm out of the office all day, but if you could shoot me an email...
The priest that the group freed exposits the church's plan about installing a mutant as pope. And once they had me in place, they would initiate a false rapture, wouldn't they? Direct ascension of the true Christians straight to heaven to signify the end of days. And thank you again for more unnecessary quotation marks, Kurt! This comic really blows. I'd really like to tear it a new one. Okay, so they plan to do this false rapture. Wait a second. The rapture? Oh, you have got to be kidding me! The rapture isn't a part of Catholic dogma! Oh, and it gets so much better here, folks. How does the Church of Humanity plan to create this false rapture? They have special communion wafers that, after consumption, can be activated remotely and disintegrates the person who ate them, as it does with our plot-revealing priest. So let me just run down the entire plan of the Church of Humanity for those who didn't quite catch it. Nightcrawler decides to become a priest, so the Church of Humanity is there waiting for him and creates a false illusion for months of him becoming a priest so they can install him as pope despite no actual influence in the papal election, so they can use communion wafers that disintegrate people to initiate a false rapture despite Catholics not believing in it, so they can reveal that the pope is really a mutant that will be mistaken for the Antichrist, but people will still know it's a mutant, so Western civilization will not only kill all the mutants, but also the civilization itself will collapse in on itself before everyone swoops in to join the Church of Humanity, which will apparently be the only spiritual option, despite the dozens, if not hundreds, of other religions available for people to join. This is quite possibly the dumbest plan I've ever heard in my life, and I've seen someone deciding to make twin clones of Hitler. Chuck Austin, you could not fail anymore, even if your name was Faily McFailing Fail. Moving on, the group confronts Evil Pope. Nightcrawler is in full Pat Robertson mode, shouting fire and brimstone and quoting the Bible as he leaps onto Evil Pope's back. Really, the comic is over. There's nothing important about any of this. Randomly shouting quotes about God and the beast and loving your neighbor do not make this thing more sophisticated nor more interesting. Nightcrawler teleports off with Evil Pope's headgear, revealing that Evil Pope is in fact a woman. Whatever, frankly, it could have been a dog operating switches and levers and it wouldn't have made it more interesting. For some reason, Evil Pope is one of those giant eggs that Darth Vader used to put on his helmet and she falls into it. It starts exploding for no adequately explained reason, the thing must be Mac-based, and Nightcrawler tries to save her, but she gladly helps the egg self-destruct, killing herself. My name is Kurt Wagner. I once believed I was a priest. Turns out I was really a nun. I had a crisis of faith. When? And ruined someone's hidden plan for world domination.
Of course!
In the aftermath, the X-Men learn of Evil Pope's backstory. She used to be a nun who had been raped by a priest, then accused of infidelity by the priest, and thrown out of the church. That's it. That's all the motivation we get. A woman gets raped and she immediately tries to take over the world using disintegration communion wafers and a convoluted, nonsensical plot that makes the Jackal's cloning plans appear nuanced and well-prepared. Chuck Austin, your originality for a character's backstory and motivation are exceeded only by your aptitude for not knowing a damn thing about Catholicism and religion as a whole. This comic sucks. I can't believe this ever got produced at all. Oh Lord, please hear my prayer. if you're out there, please, please, please rid the world of this abomination and give us something good! There is a God.